The court will come to order. We've got a quorum present. It's about 9:12. We ran a little longer than anticipated on our civil service this morning. All of our legal notices have been duly posted, and the court is duly called. Is there a motion to close the court for the November term?
So moved.
Second.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Is there a motion to open the December term?
So moved.
Second.
Any opposed to that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Bailiff will please open court.
All right!
Yeah.
The Dallas County Commissioners Court is now in session for December 2015 term with the Honorable Judge Jenkins presiding. Please remain standing for the invocation.
All right, and the invocation today will be my guest, and I believe our guest was unable to make it. So I asked Major Victorum if he would be kind enough to deliver our invocation this morning. And I gave him a heads up last night.
Did. Yes, sir, you did. And we're so gracious of that. Certainly to the Judge Jenkins as well as to the Commissioner's Court, thank you for the opportunity to actually give the invocation. We all bow so we might pray. Father, in the name of Christ Jesus, we thank you, O God, for this great day. God, a day that you've made. God, with all of our strength, God, we're determined to rejoice and be glad in this day. God, you've done your part. You've made the day now. God, help us to rejoice. God, we ask you to continue to be with each and every commissioner, and as well as the county judge. God, we ask you to bless them and crown them with wisdom, and God, that they might be able to take a multitude of requests, oh God, and be able to have the wisdom, oh God, to rightly divide and be able to decide which way to go. God, thank you for blessing them and blessing their families. And so oftentimes, oh God, that they have to work long hours, oh God, to serve and to meet the needs of this county. God, we ask you to continue to watch over them and watch over their families. And God, watch over those county departments, oh God, as well, that also serve the people. God, give us all a heart of service, oh God, so we might be able to more effectively, God, emulate and glorify you. God, thank you because you are the chief servant. And God, now come, God, Lord Jesus, and rest and rule and abide in these proceedings and give us wisdom. And God, keep us in perfect peace and let us operate in the spirit of unity. And let it be so. In the blessed name of Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. Liberty and justice for all.
All right. What's that?
Can I?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, good morning.
As is Commissioner Garcia.
Thank you, Judge, colleagues. Good morning. It's great to see the Dallas County the Dallas County Commissioners Courtroom full. And I have to say I'm excited today to have a group in the house. It's the Sisters Club Girls to Leaders. And I want to ask the ones of you that are sitting down to stand up. Hey. Thank you all for being here. And they're here today because one of the things about Sisters Club Girls to Leaders is to get informed, know about public service, know about community involvement. So they're here today to join us for a few minutes and see how county work is done. They are together with Kay Cole, Assistant Principal of Grand Prairie High School. Ms. Cole, please wave. And she started the group with the purpose of helping young women find their voice, their strengths, and their self-motivation. Let's go ahead and please welcome future young women servant leaders of Dallas County. It's great to have you here. And later they will be touring the Old Red Museum as well. So I hope you enjoy your day, future leaders of Dallas County, and have a great day. That's it. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Welcome to court. All right, and I've got the first resolution this morning for our employees of the month. Will the employees of the month please come forward? And they are Patricia Ariguani, an Internal Auditor 3 at the Auditor's Office. Cornelius Edwards, the Court Coordinator in Criminal Court 4. Mark Faust, the professional support in criminal justice. Michelle Kennion, administrative assistant in the district courts administration. Doreen Cheek, the administrative assistant in Health and Human Services. Sarwath Kaladi, a clerk 4 in the Health and Human Services. Todd Alberts, a senior business analyst in information technology. Donna Barounce, lead clerk in the jury services. Louis Traylor, he works in the collections clerk, works as a collections clerk in Justice of the Peace 1-2. Raul Reina, a detective in the Sheriff's Department. Nina Jackson, a motor vehicle representative in the tax office. And, oh, we got some flowers too. And the resolution reads as follows. Whereas Dallas County employees are hardworking, dedicated, and play a vital role in achieving the goals and objectives set each year by the Commissioners Court, most employees perform above expectations and ensure that Dallas County continues to be a regional leader and the destination of choice for residents and businesses. And whereas the Dallas County Commissioners Court authorized the creation of an employee recognition program in 2012 to encourage recognition of dedicated employees who represent the best and brightest of our workforce. And whereas the Dallas County Employee Recognition Program is consistent with the county's approved strategic plan vision 1.5, maintain a strong, motivated Dallas County workforce. Specifically, the Dallas County workforce, in many ways, is the face of the county. It must be knowledgeable, able to provide the services for which people are hired, and dedicated to helping improve the system. These employees represent the exemplar employee Dallas County hopes to recruit and retain. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court does hereby salute these employees for being selected as Employees of the Month for December 2015 for their respective departments, and offers best wishes for continued success at Dallas County, and I so move.
And I proudly second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank y'all so much. And the next resolution will be presented by Commissioner Daniel.
And thank you very much. And would the supporters of Dr. Connie Wilson please come forward? Or those in support of. Thank you. And on this happy day, I would like to say thank you to a wonderful public servant. Whereas the Dallas County Commissioners Court likes to take special notice whenever someone generously dedicates their time and talents for the betterment of Dallas County children and families. And whereas Dr. Connie Wilson was first appointed to the Dallas County Child Welfare Board on April 5th, 2011 by the Dallas County Commissioners Court, Dr. Wilson continued to serve on the board and will complete her time having served as co-chair of the Dallas County Child Welfare Board. And whereas the Dallas County Child Welfare Board was created by the Dallas County Commissioners Court on March 1st, 1997, to coordinate with the Dallas Department of Family and Protective Services in providing state and local public welfare service for children and their families. And whereas Dr. Connie Wilson's extensive educational background includes a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology from the University of Dayton, a Master's of Science in Clinical Psychology from the University of North Texas, and a doctorate in Child and Educational Psychology from Texas Woman's University. And whereas Dr. Connie Wilson worked with the Dallas public school system from 1996 to 2014, gaining experience that uniquely qualified her for the Dallas County Child Welfare Board positions she held while at Dallas Public Schools, including Director of the Office of Interagency Collaboration, Director of Community Education, licensed psychologist focused on special projects, psychological services, and ultimately the Director of the Department of Psychological and Social Services. And whereas since 1970, Dr. Wilson made it her life's work to address critical psychological and social needs of children and families, Dr. Wilson's professional achievements and efforts earned her distinguished awards such as the Pamela Blumenthal Memorial Award for Outstanding Service in 1990 and Distinguished Psychologist of the Year in 2010. Now therefore be it resolved, the Dallas County Commissioners Court does hereby recognize and extend sincere appreciation to Dr. Connie Wilson for the 6 years of service on the Dallas County Child Welfare Board and her continuing support throughout Dallas County. Dallas County is grateful to Dr. Wilson for leading by example and applying her spirit of volunteerism and service, all in the name of uplifting Dallas County families and residents. And I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And I see that we do not have Dr. Connie Wilson here, but we do have Mr. Tom Sexton, who was the co-chair of the Child Welfare Board.
Good morning. Thank you, Judge Jenkins and Commissioners, for letting me come and talk about Connie Wilson this morning. I served as co-chair of the Dallas County Child Welfare Board with Dr. Wilson, and I want you to know that she has been very instrumental in many things that the board has done over the last 6 years. And I'm here to read a statement from her. She is visiting family over the Thanksgiving extended holiday out of town, if you'll bear with me. Dr. Wilson says, I apologize for not being here, as Thanksgiving with families in Cincinnati and Philadelphia had long been in the planning. It was here in the Commissioner's Court many, many years ago that I became familiar with the true meaning of the term servant leadership. This was in the era of Judge Lee Jackson and Commissioners Jim Jackson, Mike Cantrell, Commissioner Price, and Commissioner Seamoss. I learned the importance of dotting every I and crossing every T. It is with much humility and gratefulness that I thank you for this honor and hope that I may be able to continue to serve the children and families of Dallas County. This court sets a high bar and a great example for the county. Many of us appreciate the opportunity to serve and will continue to work diligently for the families and children of Dallas County. Thank you, Connie Wilson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sexton.
All right, our next two resolutions will be presented by Commissioner Price.
Judge, Commissioners, I'd ask Mr. Zach Thompson and the Health and Human Services Department to come forward. This is our annual World AIDS Day. It says, whereas HIV/AIDS continues to be a priority health concern in the United States, with over 1.2 million people in America infected with HIV, according to the Center for Disease Control, and an estimated 50,000 HIV infections occurring yearly in Dallas County. An estimated 16,000 people are currently living with HIV and AIDS. And whereas according to the World Health Organization, globally, more than 35 million people are currently living with HIV, and since the beginning of the epidemic, almost 78 million people have been infected with HIV virus, with about 39 people who have died of HIV, making it one of the most destructive pandemics in history. And whereas based on 2014 Texas HIV surveillance report, there was 4,405 new HIV diagnoses in Texas, including 7 cases ages 10 to 14, 215 cases ages 15 to 19, and 917 cases from ages 20 to 24. And whereas since 2011, World AIDS Day has carried the theme of getting to zero, zero, no new HIV infections, zero discrimination, zero age-related deaths, which signifies a push toward greater success to the treatment for all. And whereas in recognition of World AIDS Day 2015, Dallas County Health and Human Services will offer free testing for HIV and other sexually transmitted disease on December the 1st, 2015, at the Dallas County Health and Human Services Department from 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. It's another opportunity in the continued efforts of HIV prevention, screening program, services, and care. Now therefore be it resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court does hereby proclaim Tuesday, December 1st, 2015, to be World AIDS Day, getting to zero, zero new HIV infections, zero discrimination, zero age-related deaths in Dallas County and the state of Texas, and recognizes Dallas County Health and Human Services for offering HIV STD testing to decrease and ultimately eliminate the spread of HIV/AIDS in Dallas County. And I so move.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And Mr. Thompson, right before you speak, what we talked about, those 4,400 new HIV cases diagnosed in Texas, I think the telling story is the ages. When you talk about 7 new cases from 10 to 14, and while today we're also going to honor, Kwanzaa Fest, you do testing for tickets today. So anyone who tests gets free tickets to Kwanzaa Fest, which is a free event anyway. But that has basically kind of put you on the mountain in terms of your numbers and the number of people you test. But what I want the audience to understand, and those who are streaming, it was at Kwanzaa Fest 2 years ago that a young lady who was 10 years of age, who was tested and found to be HIV positive. No, I take it back. Full-blown AIDS. There's a marked difference between HIV and full-blown AIDS because of the maturation time. The travesty is that we had to call her parents, or at least you guys did, and she had no clue. The parents had no clue. The number of young people, 10 to 14, and then the number that are 15 to 19, and then 10 to 14. 10 to 14 is 215 new cases, and 15 to 19 is 917 new cases. I just want to thank you and your people on the ground for continuing to be in the forefront. We talked about Ebola, and America went bonkers. But nobody seems to really understand where we still are with this issue of HIV and AIDS.
Judge, Commissioners, as we look at today is significant for a number of reasons. As Commissioner Price brought out, I want to commend our top doc, Dr. Perkins, Felicia Barnett, who heads up our surveillance program, Erica Nero, who is our PIO, who gets the information out. But I want to be very clear today, while we're talking about getting to zero, we have a number of our adolescents who are 13 to 18 years of age who are beginning sexual activity and getting infected with HIV/AIDS. And here's where we have to really focus on, and we've talked about it before. There has to be a discussion in our ISDs. There has to be a discussion as we talk about prevention. But here's where the problem mounts up. The issues that are in Dallas County are no different from urban cities throughout the United States. And as we stand here today, we have to remember those who have lost their lives, those who are living with AIDS now, and the families impacted by HIV in their lives. Recently, we had a celebrity who can come out and talk about their activities, and that gets worldwide recognition. But we got people in Dallas County who are suffering because they won't get that notoriety. They have to go and stand in line to get services. They have to go and stand to get housing. They have to go somewhere to get their medication. And so while they look at this particular guy who everyone ran to, there are people right here in Dallas County who are suffering. So I want to commend our surveillance staff. I want to commend all of our community partners, all the Ryan White Planning Council, all of the agencies that are out there day in and day out working on prevention and treatment services for the individuals in Dallas County. We will not rest. We're out at night, early mornings, providing testing. So today, and as Commissioner Price, as Commissioner Price brought up, it was at Kwanzaa Fest that this young person was identified. It was from Kwanzaa Fest that we did a study on 13 to 18-year-olds, showing that the increased number of HIV rates among the 13 to 18 years of age. When you go 13 to 24, that number jumps. But 13 to 18 is a significant number in urban cities throughout the United States, including Dallas County. And so we will not rest. While we're here today, we'll be here next year. We want to raise the awareness that it's not, and if we really want to put the pin in it, 30 years ago, we talked about this as a white gay male disease. In 2015, the new infection rates among African Americans who have MSMs and Hispanic populations have increased. So 30 years ago, look where we are now. And so the issue that we're seeing now, I'm just have to wonder, has anyone turned a deaf ear because the numbers and stats have changed? Thank you.
Again, I want to commend you and your people, and I've had the occasion, and I say this each and every year, people see you on this day, but they don't see you and your forces going into the communities late at night, into areas that most people don't want to go. Most people are fearful of going without, quote, security in those areas, and going in to try to deliver services as well as education to that population, to that demographic, and extracting them in such a way that you can begin to try to, not only with surveillance, but be able to manage and control this. And so I just want to continue to thank you and your staff for that kind of work.
One last thing we were left out in the prayer. I want to remember one of our employees who were killed over the weekend, George Moss.
I was going to do
and
that.
I wanted to keep his family in your prayers. 30-year-old young man who worked for Dallas County Health and Human Service in our housing division for 7 years. One of the greatest young men. I had an opportunity. We have seen him grow up in the community and to see his life taken at such an early age. Let's keep his family in our prayers. Thank you.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
would like to say, too, that even though Commissioner Price is the one that brings forward this particular resolution, that it is so heartily felt among the rest of us also, too, that the continued vigilance and dedication of the Health and Human Services Department, means that Dallas County stays on top of this particular situation. So thank you very much for all your efforts.
And also for working so well, Mr. Thompson, because you really are an amalgamator. You really bring everybody together. I know Dr. Carlo with AIDS Arms is here today in the audience as well. And you have been one of those departments that really have worked hard to improve education, knowledge, and of course in events like Kwanzaa, go to the community and tell them, guys, this is a problem that we have. Go to schools and say, we have to teach our young people about the dangers of HIV/AIDS. And that couldn't happen without your leadership and your staff as well. So thank you for everything.
And Commissioner Daniels, the only reason I get an opportunity is because this court made me the chairman of public health.
Absolutely.
That's number one.
Absolutely.
And I take all of my chairmanships seriously. But number two, for those young ladies who are here today and the ISDs, it was because, as Mr. Thompson said, coming out of Kwanzaa Fest, we saw that population, especially with the 10-year-old, but the 13 to 18-year-old. And so we decided through the public health side of the aisle, we were going to do an initiative in terms of the schools. And it was that that was the impetus for that initiative, whereby we could talk about it in regards to schools. And so DISD, I know, bought into it, and I don't know where Irving is. I see the instructor affirming, but that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, Grand Prairie, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am. And yeah, that's what happens when we just stay in our district. I'm sorry, Grand Prairie. But thank you for being here. The next one is, thank you, colleagues. The next one is Kwanzaa Fest, and we'll let delegation from Kwanzaa Fest come forward as we celebrate the 25th, the silver anniversary of 25 years. Whereas a committed and socially conscious group of protesters, known as the Warriors, led by a certain commissioner, were concerned about the lack of a community vehicle which could deliver the concepts of emancipation, education, and enterprise to the Dallas area, and especially to the historically marginalized communities of Dallas. And whereas the founding committee agreed upon holding a two-day event in the month of December preceding Kwanzaa and calling the name Kwanzaa Fest, which recognized the 7 tenets of Kwanzaa, which are umoja, Swahili meaning unity, to strive for and to maintain unity in the family, community, and nation, kuji, chagalia, self-determination, to define, name, create, and speak for ourselves, Ujima, collective works and responsibility, to build and maintain our community together, Ujama, cooperative economics, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses and to profit from them together, Nia, purpose, to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Kumba, creativity, to do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. And finally, Imani, faith. To believe with all our hearts in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteous and victory of our struggle. And whereas the maiden voyage of Kwanzaa Fest commenced on December 13th and 14th, 1991, and was held in the cafeteria in the halls of Lincoln High Communication High School, and Kwanzaa Fest grew rapidly and eventually moved to the Automobile Building at Fair Park, which now plays host to an average of 50,000 people annually. And whereas Kwanzaa Fest diversified its structure and added local and national entertainment, Kid Fest, Kwanzaa Fest, 5K, walk, run, and a litany of vendors that range from local startups to Fortune 100 companies. And whereas Health Fest has become the focal point of all of our efforts and has partnered with public and private healthcare providers to render several $1 million in much needed and valued health screening and preventative medicine and private medical consultation for patients, and it's free. Therefore, be it resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court does hereby, with great respect and aforethought, salute and congratulate the original founding committee, the standing committee, the District 3 Public Health Advisory Committee, Dallas County Health and Human Services, and hundreds of dedicated volunteers as they converge for the 25th anniversary and homecoming of Kwanzaa Fest, Saturday and Sunday, December 12th, 13th, 2015, and be it further resolved that this institution, which has managed to remain admission-free to the public, it has been a supplemental delivery venue for the exchange of health services for our partners in the healthcare industry to our constituents in the larger community should be emulated as a model and template of successful outreach and self-determination. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Hall, before you respond, one of the things the community told us 25 years ago is said, you know, it's interesting. You guys birth all kinds of events and venues here in the community, and then you move away. You move either downtown or you move out north. One of the things the Kwanzaa Fest Committee decided when we studied the Center for Disease Control, the zip codes are always the same. HIV, AIDS, STD, unfortunately the food deserts, they're all the same. It's always the same. And so the committee made a determination that regardless of how we grew, we were going to stay in the community. Because you young people don't understand, access is still an issue. When we as commissioners build roads and bridges and talk about mobility, you don't understand. Transportation is still an issue. We remember that during desegregation when people were in West Dallas who had never crossed the bridge, had never come out because of transportation. And people today are paralyzed when they think they're going to have to, 2 generations, relocate just from West Dallas to South Dallas because they don't understand transit systems, they don't have automobiles. And so it's very easy for us to buy into the fact that it's just about getting across town. But when people walk in their community, when they talk about food deserts, people go to convenience stores because they don't have access. And transportation is still a barrier. A freeway is still a barrier. There are a lot of people in these communities that never cross freeways. I know that's difficult for you to believe because in your new mobile society, you go wherever you want to go, whenever you want to go. There are still a lot of people hostage, and this court says it all the time. Dallas County still has the highest child poverty population per capita in the country. It may be difficult for you to understand that, but that's what we find ourselves wrestling with every day. So that's the reason we talk about Kwanzaa Fest. We talk about a medical home where people can go. I know Parkland is over there, but those zip codes, they're over there. They're south. Few of them are migrating north. It's just a matter of time before the ship kind of sizes out. Mr. Hall?
Judge, Commissioners, first of all, I want to thank Dallas County for the hand that you have had over the years with Kwanzaa Fest. We have appreciated all of that help. But I think we'd all be remiss as a committee and as people who've been with Kwanzaa Fest from the beginning if we did not stop, yield, and give some lauding to Commissioner Price for all the years that he's been steadfast and not a figurehead. He has been hands-on. When you see him at Kwanzaa Fest, he's cleaned up. But before that, the 3 days before, he's run through that building and he's dirty and does what everybody else does not necessarily want to do. There was someone in business who told me one time that the answer to how is yes. And today we want to thank Commissioner Price because he always says yes to the right things and then he finds a way on how. There have been a lot of years where we didn't know if we were going to make it. It is hard to be the largest event in the Southwest of America that is still admission-free. That's a hard thing to do. But we've been able to manage to do it, and we've included everybody. We've got a lot of people here, a lot of different faces, and we want everybody to come to Kwanzaa Fest. Maybe you don't understand what Kwanzaa is, but it's okay if you speak Spanish or whatever you speak. Come to Kwanzaa Fest. It's all good. We're going to have a 25th homecoming, but we wanted to make sure that we said today, thank you to Commissioner Price, who's put it on the line every year. Thanks a bunch.
And while we're here, Marshall De Los Santos, let me see, we got another resolution though.
We have.
Let me do the resolution first. Do the resolution first.
Okay, thank you. The last resolution is mine. Thank you, Judge, colleagues, and of course, members of the audience. I want to ask to come forward 4 leaders in our community, 4 people that have helped and have provided their expertise to help Dallas County. And they are Mr. Don Williams, Ms. Norma Minis, Mr. Levi Davis, and Honorable Blake Clemens. Would you all please come forward? I know Mr. Noe Hinojosa couldn't make it today. I see Ms. Minis coming forward. And, well, this resolution has a special purpose. First of all, not only to say thank you, but also to recognize that you all put your time and effort to help us public servants. And of course, this couldn't happen without a fantastic staff led by our administrator, Daryl Martin, Mr. Gordon Heichel, Jonathan Bazan, and of course, Ryan Brown. So, and many other departments that participated. But overall, great things, great ideas, and more importantly, thinking out of the box, come out most of the time of working together in a private public partnership. So the resolution that I'm very honored to read today says as follows. Whereas, after Dallas County recognized that the deteriorating conditions of county-owned buildings require a strategic guidance to move forward, Commissioners Court created the Dallas County Building Study Committee on September 2nd, 2014, and charged the committee with the mission of evaluating space utilization, accessibility, safety, and environmental considerations, and the review of necessary capital expenditures. Whereas the committee was comprised of 5 knowledgeable individuals who worked tirelessly to perform their service to Dallas County. The Building Study Committee consisted of the Honorable Blake Clemens, Mr. Levi Davis, Mr. Noe Hinojosa, Ms. Norma Minis, and Mr. Don Williams. And whereas several county buildings were reviewed by the committee, including the Administration Building, Records Complex, George Allen's Court Building, Frank Crowley Court Buildings, Oak Cliff Sub Courthouse, and the All Red Courthouse. And whereas the committee worked hand in hand with county departments and consultants to review the current state of county buildings and finances and make recommendations for solutions to address county-wide deferred maintenance and the declining situation at the Records Complex. And whereas it was determined that the Records Complex requires significant costly infrastructure replacements and repairs, a plan to address Americans Disability Act regulations and security deficiencies, lead paint and asbestos abatement, modern space standards and work environments for employees. And it was further recognized that major renovations were required in order to avoid certain catastrophes from taking place that could burden Dallas County operations. And whereas the Building Study Committee presented the recommendations on June 30, 2015 to the Commissioners Court, which included guidance to improve county operating practices, an annual fund of capital items, and to address all issues with the Record Buildings Complex and renovate the building for the people of Dallas County, including to seek short-term financing with no property tax increase. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Dallas County Commissioners Court does hereby recognize and honor the Building Study Committee in Dallas County for their hard work in providing Dallas County with viable options to move forward in improving county facilities, which will produce a good environment for Dallas County employees and customer needs. And I so move.
And I second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries unanimously.
And before you speak, I just wanted to say that, as you know, this court has been moving forward on your recommendations. Just at today's meeting, we're going to approve, and we hope some solicitations. The county has also been moving forward on the lease for the building occupants to relocate, and I have been named the person that will oversight, the commissioner that will oversight the record complex project. Thank you very much. No pressure on any of us. But with that being said, I just want to thank you on behalf of, I think I can speak for everyone here, for your hard work. And I know your time is very valuable, and the fact that you were able to put so many hours helping us is truly appreciated. Thank you. Ms. Means?
It was just an honor and a privilege. Thank you very much.
I think our group worked well together. I had 3 observations that I think were shared by the group. Number one, we really admire the way the county has operated with such fiscal and operational responsibility on behalf of all of us that live in Dallas County. So we saw that firsthand by working with your team. Secondly, it was a high-quality process. We appreciate Daryl and Jonathan and Dale and the others who were very transparent and open and forthcoming with us. You have a high-quality team here, and it was a high-quality process. Thirdly, you all heard our recommendations, which I think are important to this part of downtown Dallas in the long term, as well as to the county. So we appreciate the opportunity to be of service, and any way we can continue to be of service to the county in this regard, we would be honored to do it. Thank you.
And quite honestly, I couldn't say anything different than what Don just said. The county is run so well. I'm so proud to be part of the county. And the staff is terrific. Your staff did a tremendous job keeping us organized, Daryl and his gang. And we really appreciate it. So thank you so much for the opportunity to serve.
I also echo that to thank you for the opportunity. You put together a real good committee. We work well together, and really we enjoyed doing it. And I enjoy giving back to my community. This is the second time you call on me to assist. I assist on the committee on the Parkland Hospital many years ago as to whether or not we should have a hospital. I enjoyed that opportunity, so I'm always standing by to help out whenever I can. Thank you.
And for the record, so the record will be replete, it's called the Blue Ribbon Task Force. But let me just say a couple of things. The reason that Dr. Garcia continues to refer to Honorable Blake Clemens is because he was elected, not because the others are not honorable. That's number one. But he was elected official. But let me say to this committee, I spent a lot of times in tandem with my colleagues. But what I appreciate about this committee is that, and especially having been an elected official, and businessmen worldwide, and bringing all of that to the table, that you listened. You listened to those of us who are kind of relics and dinosaurs, and given the history of that building and the history of finances, as I just talked to the young people about Dallas County and child poverty. We look at the numbers in Dallas County. We understand what the demographic change is. We also understand what the economic change is. We understand what the educational change is. And all of that impacts the bottom line. If you don't understand that, and you're forecasting out into the future, you're going to run into trouble. And I appreciate the fact that my colleagues, and some of us, as I said, have been around long enough that we felt like we architected and designed a financial structure that would get us where we needed to go. We continue to pride ourselves about 2021 in Dallas County, and with very few minor adjustments. For those of you who don't understand what that means that we're anticipating Dallas County being debt-free. That's unheard of, not only in Texas, but across the country. That's unheard of. You have not voted on a bond election in this county because of staff, this court, prior courts, framing policies in such a way that it's hard for you to imagine. But if you stay here, you will inherit, the benefit of that. And this committee understood that and did not burdensome you futurely. So I just want to thank you. because I'm not going to say I thought some of you had your mind made up going another direction. But you listened to us. You listened to us. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your time, and your expertise.
I just had one thing to add to all of the wonderful things, because I, too, thank you so much, first of all, for the amount of time that you did put in. I think it might have been a little bit of a surprise to you when you did find out the number of hours that it really took to go through all of the information on all of the buildings and to be creative about finding recommendations for us to work on. But I also would like to note that each one of you have said, golly, I would love to do this again sometime. So that we not only look to the past and what the good work that you have done, but we also know where you live, so we could tap you again, because we may not be done with these processes. So thank you for the future.
And I'd just like to say, Judge, say thank you also. You know, I've seen a lot of committees formed and participating with Dallas County, and I don't know of any that's been more knowledgeable, more active, and more engaged than what your committee was. And so I just want to say thank you very much.
And from each one of the different areas that you represent from your life experience, everything just added and made a complete picture, which was so useful to all of us.
Tremendous job. Thank you so much.
Can I get a picture of the
I know we want the picture. If you don't want it with us, we will totally understand.
And come around.
Hello.
And while they're coming, I want to say to Marshall De Los Santos, thank you for all you and your staff did over the weekend with regards to the flooding, the barricading, the assembling of porta potties, the providing of water. I'll wait till they're finished, but I just want to. Okay. They got some real life lessons today.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks again.
Thank you again for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
They didn't make it
Judge, can I have one quick minute?
Let's defer to Mr. Martin real fast.
Yeah.
Just a quick minute.
Yeah, no problem.
I just want to take a moment to thank the county. 2 years ago, we started a food drive for the North Texas Food Bank during the Thanksgiving holiday. Well, we did it again this year. We did a couple of different things this year, but I do want to thank our purchasing department who raised over $400 for the food bank. Treasury department who also raised a bunch of money. I want to thank our public service department who picked up over 2,700 pounds of food. And you can go through the slides as I'm talking. And I wanted to thank our department heads and Dr. Daniel, who actually volunteered a total of 42 hours at the food bank last Tuesday morning. So I just want to thank all of our department heads.
42 hours in the afternoon?
In the morning. A total of 42 hours. A total of 42 hours.
I thought maybe she had some. I thought
She was very active. We had a total of 14 department heads plus Commissioner Daniel who joined us. And we, if you go to that last slide there, was over 2,900 pounds of food, which is 400 pounds more than we collected last year. A total of $505, our volunteer effort. We had sorted over 15,000 pounds of food, which was 26 pallets. 13,000 meals were provided because of the work that we did, and we moved over 1,900 pounds of toiletries. So I want to just thank your department heads who used their time and came out last Tuesday morning and spent our morning at the food bank, and Dr. Daniel, of course, who pitched in.
And we had a good time.
And we had a good time. We had a great time for a great cause. So I want to thank the county again for all of their donations. Again, we did 400 pounds more than we did last year, and next year we're going to try to get over 3,000 pounds. So thank you to the Commissioner's Court, thank you to all the department heads, and thanks to all the departments and county employees.
Did you get my annual 500 check from the judge that he pledged every year?
Did he pledge annually, or was that
I don't think
he pledged annually, but I'll take the $500 on behalf of the food bank, but thank you again.
Thank you, and your team and Dr. Daniels for that leadership. And as I said to the young people earlier, while some of us are comfortable, there are a lot of people who live in the unincorporated areas of Dallas County. And I tell people all the time, water flows south, and we're all in the southern end, and we get all the water. And so there are people who are getting evacuated, people who don't have water, people who need shelter, roads that have to be barricaded. I appreciate my staff and the Dallas County Sheriff's Department. They always basically notify us through the marshal's office what needs to be barricaded. And so, Marshal, I just want to thank you, the Sheriff's Department, your staff. I mean, we assemble everything. Again, we take stuff for granted. People are living out there in mobile homes. You got to do porta potties. You know?
And of course, the fact that you do it in such a short period of time, Fire Marshal, during emergency, during distress, taking care of shelter, food, coverage for, our county citizens on incorporated areas is always appreciated as well.
Thank y'all, Commissioners and Judge. And again, it is a coordinated effort. The Sheriff's Department Emergency Management helped us out, and we're able to get the facilities out there or the necessities that everybody needs.
On a Thanksgiving holiday weekend.
Thank you very much. We
Don't
all
want
say-
to
we
also
all
don't
give
want to
thanks.
neglect the volunteer fire department, which he
Yeah,
had.
Definitely.
They were out there in big
They were out
numbers,
there.
Yeah.
doing rescues and everything in high water. So
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Yes.
Rescued a few people. Thank you.
Hard to recognize everyone, but thank you all for
And
our
I'll
work.
pass that on. Thank you.
Right.
Okay,
Next, we'll have a presentation from the District Attorney's Office.
That's right.
Good morning, Commissioners and Judge Jenkins. I want to say first, thank you all so much for giving me this time. This is an area that's dear to my heart, so I'm very pleased to get a chance to be here and talk to you about it. The next thing I want to tell you is that Dallas County...
Give your name for the record.
I'm sorry, my name is Kendall Castello. I'm Administrative Chief for the Dallas County District Attorney's Office. I'm proud to say that Dallas County has led on a path of handling family violence cases extremely well for decades now. That has not happened by accident. There have been a lot of people involved, and I want to recognize a few of them that are here this morning. I want to start with District Attorney Susan Hawk. As she was running for office, she told the community that family violence was going to be at the core of what she did, and I was awfully happy to hear it because I worked in family violence at the time. And she has stood by that and has continued to make this a priority. Messina Madsen, our first assistant with our office, is here this morning as well. I want to point out in the back, we've got Sharon Archie, who is a 10-year veteran and protective order attorney who represents applicants. If you can give them a wave in protective orders. We've got Erica Williams, who is the supervisor over all of our victim advocates, including the victim advocates who work in family violence. And then we've got Gina Kennedy, who was a former advocate in family violence and now writes our grants and helps us with grants and has had a very successful year. We're actually going to talk about one of the grants that she was able to obtain for us earlier today. But the community was much broader than us. People like Paige Flink, and I think y'all all know Paige Flink of the Family Place, has been literally in this fight for decades and has changed the shape of Dallas County. Jan Langbine with Genesis Women's Shelter, who couldn't be here. She does have some representatives that are here today because of the important work that Dallas County does. And today, I think we're taking the next step in this process. We've led in Dallas County, and that has is in no small way due to you, this court. Actually, we're going to talk about history that started way back in 1996 when a protective order rapid response team was begun by involving a couple of commissioners who are sitting in front of us here today, Commissioner Cantrell, I know, and Commissioner Price were both very instrumental in that. And actually, it was begun in February. Then in July of that same year, 1996, nearly 2 decades ago, we started hearing protective order cases over in Frank Crowley. The family court district judges actually started hearing those over in the family courts, and this court, by unanimous vote, voted to let that happen so that we could expedite the process by which these battered individuals are able to get help and get a protective order. The family district court judges have very much been on board with this process since the beginning. And so, and they actually prepared a letter that I want to share with y'all. It was signed by every family district court judge, but one who wasn't available to sign it when it came by. But it just shows the support that the family district court judges have for this program as well. We started hearing those cases in Frank Crowley, and it changed how quickly we could help those who were trying to get out of an abusive relationship. And then in April of 1998, once again, near 2 decades ago now, we started having these cases heard by visiting district court judges so that we could process more of them, and more of these individuals who were in need of help could get that. This court has been involved with all of that. But we've had a problem. And so when Judge Hawk came into office, she had a conversation, I think, with retired Chief Justice Linda Thomas, who actually hears our protective orders, among other visiting judges here now, and recognized the fact that individuals who have cases that precede the protective order application out of George Allen cannot have representation by our office. We can't do it in that situation. It was a hole that we knew needed to be rectified. And so with her guidance and encouragement, we started seeking grants so that we could try to get it. Gina Kennedy went to work, and we were actually recommended for funding for 2 grants. One for a victim advocate position to represent victims that were in George Allen. But then the second grant was for an attorney position that could represent those same victims out of the George Allen Courts building, where other protective order cases are heard. That victim advocate position was funded and granted. VOCA this year had a good bit of grant funds. Unfortunately, VAWA did not. And VAWA is the entity with which we fund grants for prosecutors. So though it was recommended for funding, it could not be funded. And so we enter here with y'all. We have a problem because we want to represent more victims and get more protective orders, but we need this court's help to do that. A few statistics that I thought y'all might find important. I asked the family district court judges how many applications we could expect to see if we opened it up to taking applications for those that we had to deny service to in the past. They said a conservative estimate would be somewhere in the range of 30 to 35 applications a month. To give that some kind of, I guess, context, we take about 600 and some odd applications per month on average, per year on average, or a breakdown to about 51 applications per month. What we're looking at is a potential increase in the number of people that we can help by maybe 59% based on those conservative projections. We also know, based on research, that legal services is the single biggest area that contributes to people leaving a violent situation. And so offering this legal service significantly lowers the incidence of domestic violence. We know that survivors have indicated that going out and getting a protective order, they rank as the second most important thing they've done to get safe, second only to actually leaving the abuser. And finally, we know that those who are represented in a protective order have a far greater likelihood for success in being able to leave and being able to have a protective order granted. For all those reasons, we've made a request of this court. We're requesting a new Attorney 5 position that will represent applicants out of George Allen for protective orders. This position, because of the projections and the numbers we're looking at, we knew that one position wasn't going to be enough to do 59% increase. Our current protective order section has 3 full-time attorneys assigned to it. A 59% increase can't be covered by one. Knowing that we wanted to be financially responsible as well, we proposed that we take one attorney 1 position that we currently have under protective orders and split that into 2 attorney 3 positions. By splitting that into 2 attorney 3s and making them part-time, we have we cost the county very little, but we can separate resources so that while active hearings are occurring in both George Allen and Frank Crowley, we can have 2 attorneys available in each area to help with that process. What that means is that this looks at how we're currently set up for Frank Crowley. We've got a protective order attorney 5, a 3, and a 1. We've got 3 advocates, as you see, and three secretaries. With this move that we're making, we'll move to, and if you'll take me to the next slide, we'll move here. We'll have an attorney 5 at both Frank Crowley and George Allen. George Allen, which should, at least based on our projections, have less cases right now, will also be staffed with one of our part-time attorney 3 positions. Frank Crowley will continue to have the attorney 3 it has, but then instead of having a full-time 3rd attorney, it will have a part-time 3rd attorney to help with those. We will add a protective order advocate. As you'll see, instead of 3, we now have 4. That's the grant that came through, and we're going to have another chance to look at it here in just a minute. And then we have the 3 protective order secretaries to help out with that case. In a cost analysis, I ran for you the numbers of what the new position would cost, plus the difference between 2 part-time attorney 3s from the current attorney 1 spot. That's only a change of about $7,200. The attorney 5 is obviously the bigger part of the expense. The benefit that you get that you see in what looks like a yellow there is the advocate that was grant funded. That $64,000 is a benefit that the county is getting via grant that we can't keep without being able to staff someone over in the protective order division at George Allen. And then we'll have a furniture cost.
Let me ask, HR, have you looked at this at all? With regard, of course, the thing that blew out for me was three secretary. I'm sure it's a lot of paperwork, and I don't know who's done that analysis. Has anybody done that analysis? 3 secretaries is a lot of secretaries, and so is it that much paperwork? I mean, I don't know, and so.
There really hasn't been an analysis done by the budget office or HR as it relates to the workload for the secretaries because they're all grant funded at this time. Should the grant ever go away and they be requested to become general fund, then we would be looking at that. But historically, when they're grant funded, we don't really take too much of a look because it's not Dallas County dollars that are being spent.
Yeah, but go ahead. Yeah, okay, but they're asking us for some dollars, and I got it.
But there also is not the ability to shift the dollars. Let's say you took away one of the secretaries that's grant funded, you couldn't use those grant funds to pay for the attorney. That's not an option that's built into the way these grants are written or done. As for, there was also a question about an attorney 5 at George Allen. That is an analysis that HR will do to confirm that they believe is an attorney 5. I believe that, given the fact that that person will be working independently in a separate location, will have supervision over another attorney, will have supervision over advocates. It'll probably come out as a 5, but that is like everything else. We put in a request, we cost out a request, but HR always does that analysis to determine the final cost.
And I guess that's what I'm asking, have they done the analysis?
No, we have.
Okay, go ahead, continue.
Thank you. If we can go to that next slide. Yes, Judge.
Before moving off of his question, as I understand it, these grant funds come from 2 separate places. So that attorney 5 comes from one fund that's pretty depleted, and the secretaries come from a fund that's pretty flush. Is that right?
That's correct.
These are state funds. So as we look at next year, is it even possible, if it turns out that these secretaries don't have as much paperwork that would warrant, is there a way to write the grant in such a way that we get more money next year in the place where you need it most, which appears to be in the attorney section?
The VOCA grant can't be written for an attorney. VAWA can be written for an attorney. VOCA cannot. So many of our advocates and much of our protective order section, as Mr. Brown just pointed out, is going to be grant-funded positions and has been historically for a number of years. But there are restrictions on the type of grant that you can use and the type of position that you want to fund with it. We looked into, of course, trying to fund this attorney position through the VOCA grant, but it's simply not allowed through that grant.
Okay.
But the last thing I wanted to talk about, obviously this court has shown that when we show you a real need and when you can make Dallas County safer, you act. That's really not in question here. But one thing I did want to point out to y'all is that there is an unseen, and it'll be unseen today and it'll be unseen tomorrow, but there is a cost savings out there that's hard to quantify, and that's every prosecution that doesn't occur. Right now in Dallas County, we have submitted in one case, we've submitted our intention to seek death. That is a family violence-related case. It is the only one that we have currently submitted our intention to seek death on here in Dallas County. If by putting these protective orders in place, we prevent one of those in the next decade, we will pay for this, for the request that I'm making for you here today. And that doesn't count for all the aggravated assaults, all the murders, all the capital murders, that death won't be involved. All of that is savings that we'll never see because, thank God, those victims will never be here in Dallas County and never be represented by us. For all those reasons, we're asking that y'all fund these positions and give us a chance to help more of Dallas County. I thank y'all for your time, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, let me, Mr. Richardson, I sent an email. I know it was in the wee hours of the morning. It's one of those 5 o'clock in the morning emails, but in terms of impact and your office, do you ever wind up in this pipeline whatsoever?
Yes, Commissioners, for the cases over at Frank Crowley, our attorneys... Just
give your name for the record. So
Lynn Richardson,
okay.
Public Defender's Office.
Okay.
Over in Frank Crowley, when we represent individuals in criminal cases and they land in protective order court, we represent them. There is no such provision within the family code, and I've spoken with our folk over in family courts and Judge Callahan, and there is no intent to provide any funding or to require our office to represent individuals. It's interesting on some of these cases, especially the CPS cases, some of the people have lost their kids and they are in court because of alleged domestic violence in the home. So we're, of course, always concerned about restraint on anybody's liberty, meaning the other party, but there is no provision in the code to pay for that, nor do we have plans to represent anyone on our end.
Okay, so this does not impact, that's all I'm asking. Okay, that's what I need for the record. Thank you. I'm okay.
Before we finish on this, I do want to note that the judge's office caught a typo on court order number 3. The recommendation had said an attorney, 2 part-time attorney 2s.
Yeah.
It has been corrected to 2 part-time attorney 3s.
33s, yeah. Yeah.
Mr. Brown,
Change the dollar amount.
this position obviously was not budgeted.
It was not budgeted, but in reviewing this with the DA's office, the budget office is in complete concurrence that this really allows everybody who needs representation on a protective order, not just those that can go to Frank Crowley, but those that have active cases in the family courts. This would be a very good service for Dallas County. It is not a mandated service, but it would be a very good service.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Ahmed, you will work with Mr. Brown to review the qualifications and everything that will be involved.
Oh, yes, we'll do that expeditiously as soon as we get the court order.
Thank you. And of course, thank you to the DA's office and of course, Mr. Costello and everybody that continues to fight the fight of domestic violence. I will be supporting this item as well.
And Judge, I don't know, Judge Hawk. I'm sorry, Judge Hawk. Judge Hawk, I don't know how many more reorgs you're going to bring before us. But no problem. I've had
I like them.
Yeah, I've had some concerns. I don't have the same concerns with this, but I appreciate the fact that some that this court has not seen that you've made internally, especially as it deals with the population management of the facility. And I just want you to understand that whole reorg has been a very definite move in the right direction It has lessened the load on the attorneys. Even the defense bar is saying that it logistically flows better throughout the system. They don't have to go all over looking for, so that whole, and I'm speaking so that the record will be replete, that state jail unit, that has worked. It has worked well, and those of us in both jail population and management, those committees, thank you. It's been a good
Thank you,
move.
Commissioner, and of course, I thank every single one of you for listening to what we're proposing, and I think it's going to be a great service to Dallas County, this new position.
Judge Hawk, I just wanted to say, I told this to Mr. Costello, but I don't remember. I'm getting to that age that I don't remember if I say it publicly. I would like to see some follow-up, hopefully next year by budget time, so we can have an idea of how all these, changes
Absolutely.
are proving to be positive changes, like Commissioner Price just mentioned.
Absolutely.
For Dallas County.
That will happen. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to also say, too, that in looking at our daily news and seeing the amount of violence around the country, that I like to see that Dallas County steps up and says, okay, what can we do to address some of those issues and to make Dallas County as safe as we can for all of our residents. So that is so very much appreciated. But then it's also, as Dr. Garcia says, of, okay, let's see if in fact what we do has the impact that we're sincerely hoping that it will.
Well, we plan to have a metrics in place that can measure that once granted these positions. So, and I think it's just a great service for Dallas County that victims have not had in the past.
Thanks for stepping up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
We will
Consent
now
agenda.
consider our consent agenda. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Second.
Any discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next,
Hold on.
Hold on.
She's having
Did
to,
everyone vote?
yeah, everybody needs to vote on it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll move the bids.
Second. Just the second. Commissioner Contrell and myself.
Mr. Cantrell, and seconded by Commissioner Garcia.
And Commissioner Garcia. Everybody voted?
No, you did. I need to call the question. Call the question.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, and next we'll consider our court orders. Is there a motion on court orders L1 through L55, pulling item 23 for a later date?
I want to amend Court Order 25.
Hang on one, let me.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Pulling.
Is there a motion on court orders L1 through L55 and addendum 56, pulling item 23 for a later day, pulling item 27, 28, and 45 for a separate vote
Hold on.
Wait,
Hold on,
slow down
hold
a
on.
little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, we are pulling 23.
For a later day.
for a later day?
Okay, and 25.
25,
Yes.
No, I'm going to amend
well,
for,
we got to pull it though.
Uh-huh.
Pulling 25 for a separate vote,
Okay.
pulling item 27, 28, and 45 for a separate vote.
And 48?
45.
Oh, and you want to pull 48 as well?
no, 28.
I didn't
He
hear
said
your last
45.
number.
45. So I'm gonna say those again too. Okay? So that is, oh, and there's
And
another
amend
one. Sorry.
Item 50.
And 50. So,
50 is for a later date as well?
50's for an amendment.
So I'll make the motion
Oh,
of
let's make sure.
court orders 1 through 56, pulling court orders 23, 25, 27, 28, 45, 50, with corrections to court order number 3 and court order number 10.
What was the
Corrections.
No,
to
just
court order number
corrections
3,
to
the
it.
typo.
It's a typo.
And then court order number 10 from 12,500 to 16,500.
Right.
Correct.
That's correct.
We have 23, 25, 27, 28,
45, and 50.
Yes.
Right, that's correct.
Second. And while she's doing that, Court Order 20, Mr. Thompson, is just syncing with policy from the state. Is that correct? I got it. I saw it. I'm putting it on the record.
And on item number 4 is the extension for the disparity study. Mr. Martin now is being extended to December 2015.
The end of December 2015, that's correct.
December.
That's when we
Could
can
you
close.
elaborate? This has been the disparity study
Yes.
with no end.
Yes, this will close out the disparity study. The contract actually ended in August. I needed an extension in order to get the final draft, which we will have on December the 15th, and close out the project by the end of December of this year.
And we will discuss it.
Yes, we'll discuss an
Publicly.
open session on December the 15th. You'll have your final draft.
Well, but my problem has still been where, and I see Dr. Garner here, where is Parkland?
That I do not know, but I will check with Parkland.
I need to
on the
make
status
sure,
of the
I need to
Parkland
make
disparity.
sure, the study, Mr. Garza, maybe you know, how are you conversing with Parkland? See, let me just tell you, that this, for the record, this is a Dallas County and a Dallas County Hospital District study. And I need,
I believe Ms. Richardson has been conversing with.
oh, she's been,
MWB officer.
okay, yeah, MWB. Okay, I'm sorry. I just saw, okay, yes, ma'am, for the record.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I have been in conversation with Ms. Andrea
Now, who are you?
Hollingsworth there. I'm sorry, what did I say?
Name.
Your name?
Your name.
And we
For the
can't hear
record.
you.
I'm sorry.
Pull the mic.
Patrice Richardson, Dallas County MWB Coordinator. Yes, I have been in conversation with Ms. Andrea Hollingsworth, and the consultant is finalizing theirs as well. I think she's a little bit ahead on finalizing theirs than ours has been, because I think their data collection was a little bit different process than ours.
Well, I guess my concern, since it was joint, and you are conferring with their I don't know what they call them, supply chain or whoever,
Biodiversity, yes,
whatever
sir.
that title is, or you're conferring with them.
Yes, sir. I've been conversing with Ms.
Conversing
Holland.
with them. Okay,
Yes.
conversing.
Oh, I wasn't trying to correct you, of course I
No,
wasn't.
ma'am.
I have been speaking with her, and I talked to her last month about it, and they are at a different place. They are more solidified in completing theirs than we are, but not that much far ahead of ours. But in talking with Ms. Holt, we are in the final phases of that. I put in an email to her this morning to get that final copy so you guys can have an opportunity to go over it and, digest it before she comes in on the 15th to give the final presentation before the court.
As Parkland.
I remember the final report and the recommendation will be separate from Parkland, so they will have
Yes.
their.
But have they
Yes.
received their
Have
report?
have they received the
I am
draft?
not sure if they have actually received their
Well, I
complete
think
and
that's
final
fine.
report. What I will do is follow up with Ms. Hollingsworth to confirm whether or not they actually have it. I know that they were a few steps ahead of us in getting theirs.
Okay, well,
actually
Dr.
wrapped.
Garner, that's what I'm asking, where's Parkland in the loop? I mean, we've been concentrating on Dallas County.
Theirs too.
Yeah, I do
Yes.
too.
Yes.
I definitely want to see theirs.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the ones spending the big bucks, so we just want to know where you guys are in the loop with regards to that. And
But by the time we get our briefing, it will be addressed in a general position from Parkland and Dallas
Where
County.
Parkland stands, correct. But
Correct.
Parkland will have a separate presentation to the Commissioners Court of their report from ours, so.
Yeah.
But we will make sure that we have a status update from Parkland, where they are with their
I don't
report.
want to, I want to see their report.
Yes, you'll have that.
Oh,
You'll get a
okay.
copy of their report, but there will be a public presentation of their report to you
Okay.
also.
Got it.
Yes.
Got
Got it.
I'm going to make sure that we have both. December 15th for ours. I need to check for Parkland when theirs is going to be ready, so we'll have ours on December the 15th.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much. Also, I have some comments on 11. Colleagues, I am so excited about this item. As you all know, this is the most critical bulk of the deferred maintenance that we have in Dallas County. And it's going to be finally, in the second phase. I want to thank, obviously, Mr. Bazan, Mr. Martin at the administration, including Mr. Brown as well, for staying on top of this. This will cut our maintenance. And what percentage, Mr. Bazan? I know you have mentioned it to me, and I just totally forgot.
This represents, the most critical items of the deferred maintenance list. I'd like to thank Mr. Lilly, who's worked very, very hard. We actually had a chance to review many of these items yesterday at the jail sanitation meeting.
Yeah, we talked.
These are massive projects, require great coordination, particularly with the sheriff's office. So we're working with them on this. These projects are about $15 million in deferred maintenance.
Thank you. That was the number, $15 million, colleagues. When we look at the amount of money that we have in deferred maintenance, this will really make a difference in a lot of the buildings in Dallas County. So again, thank you very much. I'm delighted to, continue to see all these projects coming forward and moving speedily. On number 7, NCTRCA. Well, I'm going to support it, Mr. Martin, and I'm just going to say because thanks to Mr. Heichel and everybody that illuminate me with the fact that they actually, decreasing the backlog and of course, because most of the state requirements and minorities are the ones that use it the most for certification. With that being said,
Ms. Blair thanks you.
Yes, Ms. Blair thanks me too. Do not worry, Ms. Blair, I love you, and I did consider you as well. But I continue to have people calling me with the length of the process, with how difficult it is, and I just want to say that I'm glad to see some things are, improving in NCTRCA. I look forward to the day that I have at least 2 months with nobody complaining, and that is my 5, cents on that item. And I just want to thank the staff because I know that you have continued to ask and, more importantly, tell me that things are moving forward in a nice manner. That sometimes, it's hard to believe.
You have to clear up the
On another tidbit of good news is Court Order number 18, which is the Medicaid 1115 waiver program, and that's just hats off to the criminal justice section here, Ron Stretcher and all of his folks, that actually is moving forward. Metrics are being attained, are being met, and that's so we keep on moving forward and doing what we can to provide the medical attention to those in need in Dallas County. So,
And I would point out on Court Order 26. Additional funding of $205,484 for Tyler Odyssey for juvenile, even though there's some offsets, but it just goes to show you that you can plan for the best, and sometimes that just doesn't happen. So.
And last but not least, I want to give kudos to the Treasurer Medrano, for the new report that we have today in our agenda. It always, always get excited when I see, that unlimited tax refunding bonds gave a savings to Dallas County of $1.1 million. And of course, she's been very active. She has held 2 retirement seminars with PBC, as well as human resources, and continues to work with different departments on how to submit deposits, how to work and be more effective when you're dealing with the treasurer's office. And of course, it's great to see new leadership. And Ms. Medrano, I know you're here, so if you can please stand up. I really want to thank you for the new format and for all the good news coming to your office. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I think I'm done.
Call the question.
All right, the question's been called, and for the record, although it's not on our screen, Commissioner Cantrell's motion included the revisions to 3 and 10, to Court Orders 3 and 10. Right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Court Order 25 is before us, and that is to be complicit with the Civil Service Commission this morning, and as much as there were 3 of us, that's the majority of the court, so it is to be amended to be complicit with what the Civil Service Commission
What did y'all decide?
Okay, we didn't,
Yeah,
we did,
elaborate.
okay, I'm sorry, let me
It's an
elaborate.
exception
Oh,
or no?
Yeah, no, it really is not an exception, it's, I'm amending it. What the Civil Service Commission decided this morning is that within each constable's office, should the individual fulfill all the requirements that have been set forth by this court and with the enterprise and commensurate with others in the enterprise, that person can be hired at a grade 66. Should that individual not be complicit with that which has been set forth with grade 66, they are to be hired at a grade 65. And that will be commensurate with the longevity and the law enforcement scale, but that is about 7.2% less from a 65 to a 66. So this,
What percentage?
I think it's about 7, I think I had 7.2. I had about 7.2%. You couldn't, no, 65, because you couldn't get to a 55, and that's good. Couldn't get to a 55 because 55 does not make the law enforcement schedule, and so Ms. Butcher from...
Salary is the 55.
Same range. Right. And so Ms. Butcher from payroll made that objection, and rightfully so, and this keeps it on that same scale because they get longevity.
So then this person will be hired as a 65?
If that's...
Actually, it would be 66 because they met all the requirements. This actually could be pulled at this time because they can hire based on the standards that were set forth this morning by the Civil Service Commission.
Exactly.
But
Well, they passed
They passed everything.
They passed
it now.
Okay. So
So it ought to be.
Oh, so there is no exception.
No exception.
So there is no exception.
There's no exception. What the public service did this morning, pretty much changed that.
Right.
So there is no exception. And as you know, colleagues, I did send you an email saying that as long as it's an exception, I will be voting against it. This removes it, therefore, I will. Well, I don't think we need to vote on it
I think the
anymore,
department is
but-
recommending that you pull the item
Okay,
completely.
department recommends pull.
Yeah.
Second, it's been pulled. We'll move to Court Order 27.
27.
Move approval.
Second. We pull it.
Hold on, just a second.
Okay.
They didn't have it as a pool, not 25.
Yes, I went ahead and activated it once you motioned it.
Second, because it was a second try.
Now 27?
27.
And Major, that's for Biz Talk, courts, JP, and prosecutor. That's
There it
for
is. And
contract
that-
services.
Yes, sir. And this particular gentleman is not only basically supporting the actual, they anticipated to support those particular projects, but he also already is on the one prosecutor project, which is already in production. He's actually supporting that project already.
So he's been with the program and the project for quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. And basically, the Enterprise Service Bus, or the ESB, is what we typically use and to go through and actually to kind of build a highway as far as our information highway. So he's basically one of the people that supports that, and those other programs link into that particular bus.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Any further?
Call the question.
And I'll be abstaining because his time is flexing over more significantly into Texas courts in the future. The question's been called. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? And I abstain. Motion carries forward.
Court Order 28.
And it's 28.
That's it.
Oh,
Commissioner Dan, did you move 28?
I'll move 28.
Move
You
28.
move 28?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Cantrell.
Second by
Commissioner Cantrell.
Okay.
For the record, our sister county, Tarrant County, went live with Texas Prosecutor over the weekend, and it's been a complete success. I want to thank IT for their assistance with them. So they're live as of Monday, as of yesterday.
Good news.
That's very good news.
Call the question.
On 28.
28.
Question's been called. Any further comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I will abstain on this one just because of the additional funding.
No, I'll abstain as well. All right, motion passes. And
Order 45 is before us. I will so move it. Okay.
Motion, please. Commissioner Price?
And is there a second?
Second.
I didn't hear it if there was.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Commissioner Cantrell? Okay.
And any discussion on this matter?
Mr. Garza, this item, we have discussed it several times about, the hourly pay for some of the employees, but at this point, the item that we're about to vote is an extension, correct? A modification for what we had in the past.
That is correct, to ratify payments for the past services. This does not incorporate the new solicitation.
Correct. It does not incorporate the new solicitation.
That is correct.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Garza.
Call the question.
All right, and again, no reflection on you and the great work that you and purchasing are doing on looking at these. I just am going to abstain from voting to hire someone at $9 an hour. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Any abstentions? I abstain. Motion carries. All right.
50 is before us.
50?
Yes, sir. Item 50?
Yep. Right. Tell them about 50.
Yes, sir. Item 50 is the authority to advertise for requests for qualification for real estate appraisal services. And within the evaluation criteria in Section 5.2, in accordance with our county policy, we have the evaluation criteria in Factor 2, where it states a number of parcels currently under contract with the county to receive 10 points, and a history of meeting deadlines, including but limited to capabilities and capacity to accomplish work, 10 points. We find this to be restrictive, and we're requesting authority to amend that area evaluation to reflect number of projects by agency entity and projects by region, locations by agency and or entity for 10 points, and parcel types by agency/entity, developed and undeveloped, 10 points. We feel that this amendment will open the level of competition, and it won't be so restrictive as the current policy provides for.
And is the department concurrent with that, Ms. Blair?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll move.
Okay. I heard a motion by Commissioner Cantrell. I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. If I could, I'd like to take a moment of personal privilege, and I'm sure I do this on behalf of all of the court. Today is the anniversary of Rosa Parks' decision to make a simple but courageous act of personal defiance against an apartheid system here in America.
60.
And yeah, I didn't say, yeah, the 60th anniversary. Thank you, Commissioner. And that simple act, that simple courageous act had a ripple effect that it could not be foreseen at the time that it was done by that one individual. And so I think it's appropriate that we celebrate Ms. Parks' courage. And also I want to commend the DART, because yesterday DART unveiled a statue to Ms. Parks, and DART will be putting plaques along Elm Street, and DART will be leaving a seat open on all of their transportation today on the front row in honor of Ms. Parks. And I said this the other day at Cleo Steele's dedication. Ms. Parks' action reminds us of an adage that any man can count the seeds in an apple, but only God can count the apples in one seed. And so her action, to a large extent, led to a ripple effect, and it just shows that the courage of one individual, and that individual doesn't have to be elected, and they don't have to be powerful, and they could come from all walks of life to make a tremendous difference. And Ms. Parks is a tremendous example to all of us. So we recognize her on this day. And with that, we don't have any items on our discussion session for today. Got a presentation?
Nothing in the presentation.
All right. And we got any comments on the miscellaneous or the information listed? Hearing none, if the bailiff will read the rules of decorum, I believe we're ready for our public speakers.
All commissioners, court attendees are hereby advised that this meeting is conducted in accordance with the provision of the Dallas County Code, Section 74-71. Visitors and registered speakers are preserved order and decorum at all times. Personal, profane, or slanderous remarks are not appropriate and will not be allowed at any time during this public meeting. Any and all applause be kept brief in observance of time constraint. Disruptive visitors or registered speakers may be removed and are subject to the penalties provided by the State of Texas Penal Code, Section 38.13, 42.01, and 42.05. Registered individual speakers are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes, and a maximum discussion on any one topic is limited to 30 minutes.
And our first public speaker is Ms. Dolores Phillips. Mr. Phillips, if you would state your address for us, please.
My name is Dolores Phillips. Address is going to be 2385 Sweetwater Drive, apartment 223, Grand Prairie, Texas 75050. You do have handouts. They will be filed with the city secretary's office on the next meeting that I'm allowed to speak in January. Honorable Jenkins, you had mentioned to the public that you were deeply hurt when your daughter was ostracized by her friends when you visited the home of an Ebola patient. I want you to know, Honorable Jenkins, I'm not putting myself under fire because it feels good, but I need you to know that I'm not afraid to live and I'm not afraid to transition. What has been committed here is the most massive, inhuman criminal conspiracy against one individual for truthfully reporting ongoing corruption at the city attorney's office. Warren Ernst ran to Dallas Police Department, who is corrupt, this is true. Honorable Jenkins, I'm not going to apologize for speaking the truth.
I just need you to, under our rules, you can't say anything that is defamatory. So.
It is alleged that City Attorney Ernst, their attorney's office is corrupt. They sliced and diced the video from October 25th, 2013, not to indict themselves of any criminal activity. He ran down to DPD to say investigate Scott Griggs for allegedly a threat. How can corruption investigate corruption? You need another system. DA Watkins was going to implement a system to overwatch and oversee Dallas Police Department if they need it tremendously bad. What I wanted to share with you is that Abigail Laurel Fisher is in the Supreme Court twice as a non-minority, alleging that her education was deprived because she was white and that affirmative action did not work for her. Me being a minority, it's not working for me either, so I don't know who affirmative action is working for, and it stems from this criminal conspiracy. What I do not understand is how Commissioner Price, Ken Paxton, Rick Perry, and the other ladies are indicted for allegedly committing petty crimes compared to what y'all done here as a whole, even instigating and initiating the public to be involved in our criminal conspiracy that is well documented against my education, a home set up to fail because I report corruption at Dallas Police Department, a major incorporation involved, the courts is involved. A week prior to me receiving a major decision in the United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit, your folder for the Commissioners Court was erased from the University of North Texas right before my eyes on the computer without me touching anything. It also happened at University of North Texas at Dallas when I utilized their computers. It happened at Dallas County Community College District at Mountain View College, El Centro College. I easily earned an E at PE. I had to do an arbitration with Betty Tully to get an A that I already earned, and that's the truth of the matter. I'm not going to apologize for speaking the truth, and I'm not going to be afraid to infringe any course out ongoing and inhuman consequence.
You're out of time. Thank you. All right, and our next speaker is Mr. David Sullivan. Mr. David Sullivan. Mr. David Sullivan. I don't believe Mr. Sullivan is here. Our next speaker is Ms. Sylvia Lagos. Ms. Sylvia Lagos. Ms. Sylvia Lagos. And our next speaker is Ms. Yvette Velez.
Like Alizé with the B.
Balazé.
Balazé, yes.
Balazé.
Yes, well, hi, how are y'all? My name is Yvette Balazé, and today I'm talking about two things. Quickly, I'm going to speak about cite and release, and I'm glad that I actually got the opportunity to speak with our district attorney a few weeks back when she addressed the public, and she said that she is actually acknowledging it finally, and it's something that's being worked on. Maybe they do need more resources because it did take till since January for me to get some type of response on this, and a lot of hurdles that I had to jump. I have just hundreds and hundreds of hours of secretaries playing on the phone, giving me intentionally incorrect answering, machines and whatnot. But I'm glad that finally we are getting to the point where we can address it. Other counties, I just came from Hidalgo County. It took their district attorney 3 days to get back to me, not the whole year. So maybe we need to more efficiently utilize the resources that they have there, or maybe they do need some more money, regardless. But anyway, that's not what the other thing that I came to talk about. The second thing I came to talk about was, as an activist, I do get attacked with a lot of false charges. One of these false charges was recently dismissed, as they usually are, and the judge refuses to give me my property back, and I really don't know who else to go to. It's part of the article, I think it's 18.19, section C and D. It says that she's supposed to give me my property back. I've gone twice. I only have like 121 days to request for my property. I've gone there. I have no other way to show publicly that I have gone there over and over to get my property back. So maybe somebody can direct me, get me some help in this, because I don't believe it's fair to sue the county for something that this one individual is doing that's incorrect. This person needs to be addressed. It's the judge in misdemeanor court number 5. She has it in for me because I did protest the prosecutor in court number 5, and she made a few mistakes as a prosecutor, violating my rights. And I guess this judge is taking it out on me by keeping my property. The only other thing I can say about that, it is a firearm. Maybe this is her way of exercising her bias about gun control or whatever, but it's my property and I would like it back. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, let him do it. Let the DA's office do it. Will you look into it? Staff.
All right.
Okay. He'll look
So,
He's going to look into it. Call the next.
I believe we,
Who's the bell?
I believe I see her here.
Yeah,
Susie
she's
Bell.
here.
Oh,
Yeah, she's
okay.
here.
She
She
is
had
here.
any place else to be.
Susie Bell Gosley. I missed you.
Never any place else to be.
All right, and please state your name for the record.
Judge, Commissioners. I'm Susie Bell Gosley, speaking on behalf of the League of Women Voters. The offices are located at 2720 North Stemmons Expressway here in Dallas. The League believes that democratic government depends on the informed and active participation of its citizens, and that responsible government should be responsive to the will of the people. The League urges the Dallas County Commissioners, the elected representatives of the citizens of Dallas County, to affirm democratic principles and vote to hear citizens' input on issues before the Commissioners' Court at meetings prior to the meetings where the Commissioners will vote on these issues. To decide otherwise would mean that this body is giving the public only a pro forma right to speak. Without deliberating and considering citizen input, the Commissioners would be denying their constituents meaningful participation in county affairs. We ask you to respect the will and interest of the public and allow citizens to speak to all 5 of you directly during the Commissioners' Court sessions, or to express to you individually their opinions on the issues that affect their lives at the meetings before you vote. Thank you for hearing our concerns and voting to affirm democratic principles.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. And our next speaker is Miss Stephanie, or our last speaker is Miss Stephanie Hansen. Miss Stephanie Hansen. Oh, there you go. See ya. See ya.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Have to unwind me. My name is Stephanie Hansen. My address is 1914 Noma Street, Dallas, Texas. I am a resident of District 4 with Dr. Edward Garcia. Today, I would like to speak about following the Commissioner's Court mission statement of protecting the welfare, the health of the people, and the environment. Being that it is a part, and I'd like to commend Dr. Taylor for all the things he's done for the county, we still have a long ways to go.
Thompson.
Thompson.
I know, I got
I'm
you.
sorry.
I got you. That's all right. Continue.
So today, we do have issues with pollution and the environment in West Dallas. I'm not a long-term resident of West Dallas. I've only been there since 2003. But when I moved to West Dallas, one of the things that I was asked to sign as a part of the packet to where I purchased a home was a statement saying that if I should get cancer, that I would agree not to sue the entities because of this. I moved into Greenleaf subdivision in 2003, and it was a part of the packet. I no longer live there. I live about a mile away from there. But now we still have the problems. We have a problem with a plant that is being moved from a mile down the street to another mile. You as commissioners have a duty to act, a duty to protect, a duty to provide the health and welfare, a duty to assess the community input. And as you stated, sir, earlier, Mr. Price, Commissioner Price, that the zip codes are all the same for the issues of AIDS and other diseases. My question to you today would be, are the zip codes all the same for the environmental injustice, the environmental racism? And if it is, if you find that the answer is yes to that, then you all have a duty to act. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hansen. And I just want to also echo, kudos to Mr. Thompson that continues to work, with everybody in Dallas County that has an issue about health. And I know it's not easy, Mr. Thompson, but somebody has to do it, and I'm glad it's you. And also, one more thing, I wanted to mention Dr. Smith, you're having a bilingual fair. Can you just for the record, I know we've sent this through broadcast and I've seen it in my website and other venues, but can you just invite the public and people that know someone that is looking for a job and they speak more than one language?
Human Services as well as Communities Supervision. So we're really happy to host this. We are always looking for great bilingual candidates and, of course, Spanish, but any other language too, that we're seeking that. So the public is welcome to come out, bring your resume, 9 to 12. It will be at the Henry Wade Center at 2600 Lone Star Drive, and we are honored to host it.
Thank you, Doctor, for your work on this. I appreciate it. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, colleagues.
And this takes us to our closed session. We will adjourn momentarily to our closed session under Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code as previously posted. Any action as a result of our closed session will take place in a subsequent open session, and as I said, we'll begin that momentarily. Thank you. Got it.
adjourn?
Yeah, we're going to adjourn.
Ready?
All right, no further action necessary as per the closed session. Court stands adjourned.